When we approach God, our first instinct is often to present a resume of righteousness. We rely on our spiritual maturity or our moral confidence to prove we belong in His presence. But the biblical reality of sin shatters that expectation. Sin is a destructive force that fractures reality and brings death. It is a deep, systemic rebellion that breaks our communion with the Creator. This creates a dilemma for God. If He ignores sin, He denies justice. If He destroys the sinner, His mercy fails. Both paths seem to contradict His character. Any resolution to this cosmic crisis requires a way to cross the threshold into God's presence, where grace is free to the recipient, yet immensely costly to the provider. God answered this dilemma of justice and mercy through the architecture of the ancient Israelite sanctuary. This structural blueprint provided a tangible solution that abstract philosophy could not reach. To enter, you pass through a white linen perimeter gate. Once inside the courtyard, you immediately confront an altar of fire and death. Notice the absence of a throne or a glowing presence in this first space. The worshipper's first encounter is not with a hidden glory, but with an instrument of sacrifice. This architectural order establishes that access to God begins by confronting the cost of sin. Human achievement plays no part in crossing this threshold. The altar of burnt offerings stands as a place of brutal reality. It forces us to see that sin is deadly, stripping away any illusion that rebellion against God is harmless. The process involves a specific ritual. The sinner steps forward, lays their hands on the head of an innocent animal, and confesses their guilt. This act initiates a formal transfer. The logic of substitution is clear. The innocent substitute dies in the exact place of the guilty human, absorbing the penalty that justice requires. In this moment, the altar physically demonstrates how God satisfies the demands of universal justice while simultaneously extending mercy to the individual. The prominent use of blood in the sanctuary represents life given to answer the penalty of death. It serves a specific theological function, setting aside any modern associations with gore. The priest captures this blood and carries it inside. He applies it to the sanctuary structure, moving the process into the inner compartments. This action transfers the invisible record of the confessed sin into the sanctuary's economy. The building itself now holds the burden. While the individual walks away totally forgiven, the sin is now structurally recorded. This creates a functional necessity for a future cosmic cleanup of the sanctuary itself. Between the altar and the entrance to the holy place stands the bronze laver, a large basin filled with water. Priests were required to wash here before beginning their ministry. This requirement teaches that salvation involves literal cleansing and purification alongside legal forgiveness. Moving from the altar to the laver shows that God intends to grant us a pardon and then follow that pardon with the total restoration of our character. The rituals of the courtyard functioned as a typological shadow. They were designed to point toward a single historical reality, the sacrifice of Calvary. Jesus Christ is the ultimate substitute. He permanently fulfilled the demands of the courtyard by taking our collective burden and dying in our place. The cross serves as the permanent foundation of the sanctuary message. Its occurrence validates the entire system rather than abolishing it. Because the substitute has been provided, we can approach God with radical honesty. We are invited to confess our sins rather than hiding behind a facade of perfection. In the courtyard, the sacrifice has been offered and the blood shed. Grace has visibly begun its work in the life of the worshiper. The completed sacrifice at the altar initiates a larger journey. A priestly ministry now carries the work deeper into the holy place, moving toward the final eradication of sin from the universe.